Dear Council members, my name is Adelaide Vehilani Akita Imura. I was born in the Waimea Dispensary and have lived all of my life in Kekaha, except for the time I left Kauai to attend college. I have been employed for 40 years and raised my children as a single mom in Kekaha. I have very deep roots to West Kauai. Through my mom's lineage, I'm a descendant of Ko'olau. He was and continues to be a true Hawaiian hero. He defied the big guns, the provincial government, and courageously stood for what was pono, for his ohana and other Hawaiians. My tutu brought food for them in the Kalalau Valley under the cloak of darkness. During that time, only a handful of people knew what my tutu was doing for fear of my family being imprisoned or worse. Yesterday reminded me of the similar scenario, only the people have changed. It was evident as I rode in by myself on the shuttle that the big guns were the BioTech companies. They reserved the entire field for their parking and supporters. They monopolized the area. They trucked in their workers, fed them, provided free shirts, etc. For those in favor of Bill 2491, we walked in, got shuttled in, took off from work and used earned vacation, brought our own food, paid for our shirts, etc. We cannot compete with multi-million-dollar companies and their incentives. My son and I and others stood in the wind and the rain, waiting to get into the building. We did all of this because we, like Ko'olau, are standing for what is pono. We are standing tall for our ancestors, for ourselves, for our descendants, for our animals, for our aina. The decision to pass this bill should not weigh heavily on your shoulders. We are simply and humbly asking for the right to know. Is the high incidence of cancer linked to pesticide spraying? In addition to human fatalities and increased diseases, our animals are growing tumors on their bodies. Animals that once had healthy coat sheen are now gritty and rough. Some are losing their hair. Our pueos are being found dead. They eat mice. Mice live in the fields. My cat's ear needed to be surgically removed because of malignant tumor. Plants aren't as healthy. Fruits are smaller and not as abundant as before. I am not blaming pesticides for everything, but there could possibly be a link, a common denominator that is affecting us, either in the air, water, food, environment, probably a combination of all. If we were to eliminate the fear of people losing their jobs, I know that the true Kauai ohana would unanimously and undoubtedly be in favor of this bill. I feel for these workers. They have been reprimanded in the past for going to the hospital when they were sick. Others come home with headaches and vomiting. Is this all worth it? I recognize just a handful of seed company workers, but most were unfamiliar. Are they even from Kauai? We need this bill to acquire more knowledge in order to improve our present conditions and have a flourishing future with better health and peace for all. Please use your pu'uvai when contemplating. You will feel it in your heart, and you will know what is pono.
I'm a registered nurse and Kauai resident. First, people and politicians need to realize that Bill 2491 is a health issue, not a political issue. I fully support this bill in its entirety. Every element is essential for protecting our life and our health. I want to applaud the Hawaii Nurses Association, which has over 4,000 members, for supporting this bill. I have read the letter signed by many island pediatricians supporting Bill 2491. I know there was a petition being passed around the hospital that many doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals have signed. Your educated healthcare professionals have sent a very clear message. Bill 2491 is in the best interest of the people of Kauai, and it needs to be enacted into law immediately. Some of these multinational corporations want us to believe that these tons of chemicals they put on our island are safe, and that they just disappear. These chemicals are not proven safe, and they do not disappear. They drift in the air we breathe and end up in the water we drink and the food we eat, sometimes for generations. The evidence is overwhelming. What they are doing is not safe. These big companies hope that this little island is too timid, too weak, and too uneducated to stand up and demand that these companies are held responsible. They hope that money, fear, and propaganda will silence our right to know. They're afraid to tell us the truth about what chemicals they're using because they don't want to be held responsible. They know what they are doing is dangerous, or they would have told us already. Kauai's people deserve better than to be used as an experiment. This is not Kauaians turned against each other. This is Kauaians standing up for all of Kauai. The only conflict I can see is big businesses trying to create a wedge and split the people. Everyone benefits when health and safety are put as a first priority. I have seen too many strange cancers, too many young people with cancer, bizarre syndromes that are difficult to diagnose and treat, organ failure, and other very strange ailments coming from the people who live and work around these fields. I cannot be silent any longer. We have a right to know and a responsibility to be protected. We have a responsibility to regulate the tons of chemicals that our land, our people, and our ocean are being subjected to. Bill 2491 is just the beginning of making sure that our island and our people are healthy and safe for future generations. Thank you.
My name is Cindy, and I want to share some information with you regarding my recent findings of pesticide spraying on GMO crops approximately 240 feet from my house and other houses here in Lihue on Ho'omana Road. This is worrisome because that means our fruit trees and garden are only about 50 yards away. I am appalled and quite frankly scared. On Saturday, July 13th, my husband and myself were awakened at approximately 4:45 a.m. to loud machinery noise and flashing lights. This has happened in the past also, and we thought they were just planting seeds. We called Grow Farms and asked what they are doing. They said they leased it to Pioneer. We asked for the phone number and called Pioneer. A woman named Allison said they were moving equipment around. I asked what kind of equipment, and she replied, spraying equipment. And I asked, what are they spraying? She was silent and tongue-tied and said she would have to have a manager call me. I asked for his name. A couple days later, he called back, and I asked what they are spraying and requested the active ingredients and any additives. He said he would have to check with his attorneys and call me back. He called back and said he could not disclose that information. Since then, I have been doing research, and I am very disturbed at what I am reading. My husband has never had respiratory problems and has been fighting a cough and sore throat for 4 months. I have had an unexplainable cough on and off for about 6 months. We raised chickens for eggs, and over the last 8 months have lost 3 suddenly with no explanation. And we have found several dead doves in our backyard also. There is an awful-looking grime on our windows facing the GMO fields. We have never been notified of any spraying, and to my knowledge, they seem to spray at least 2 times a week, as I am not home every day to monitor the spraying. The days I am home after they spray, I pay close attention to the way I feel. And sure enough, I get dizzy, I cough, my eyes burn, and get watery, and then a headache develops. The decision to favor Bill 2491 should consider 2 simple but extremely important facts. Number 1, the BioTech companies will not disclose what is in the pesticide. And number 2, the significant doubt about the safety of the product. Thank you.
Aloha County Council members, my name is Lois Katala. This is to inform you of what is going on with me. I moved here in 2000 and in 2003 started experiencing health issues. My health started declining then. Asthma was terrible. Allergies increased. Later I had severe breathing problems which has been ongoing continually. As for now, I hardly can walk 50 feet before huffing and puffing. I have to stop to catch my breath and sit down if it is possible. I wake up having a difficult time breathing during the wee hours of the morning, sometimes coughing and gasping for air. I didn't associate it to the activities that are going on in the test fields until recently, when while being in the library doing research work. I started having a difficult time breathing. I looked around to see what was going on and saw 4 pioneer workers about 5 feet away from me. I realized then that dust was on their clothes that could have had contaminants on them. Once I was playing Scrabble outside of Subway in Waimea, and I started having a hard time breathing. I looked up and saw a Pioneer van had passed by. About 6 months ago, the muscle in my left leg started hurting, at times very painful. My left arm started tingling about a month ago, and just this past Saturday, my left thigh started having the same kind of pain. My eyes itch most of the time. I truly believe that we live on a beautiful island, and it should not be left to be ruined by greed. We all must concentrate on a different kind of green. The craziness must be stopped. Personally, I need to know whether activities here have had impact on my health, and the only way to do this is through a process of disclosure. It is the humane and Pono thing to do. Mahalo.